be here, and the weather turned out fine. We were watching it thinking, what are we going to get? And I used to live out here, so I know that day by day, you never know, even hour by hour at times. But I want to welcome everybody to our groundbreaking for the new Panhandle State Hospital. We're very, very excited. I'm particularly happy that it's next to the Discovery Center because I used to bring my kids out here and for the egg hunts and other stuff, and so it felt kind of like home whenever we were looking at the property. And this project really has only come together because of the effective collaboration we've had between the city, the county, the state, and the Texas A&M University system. It's been pretty incredible. I told my staff when we first started this, I said, you're going to find the people in Amarillo are the easiest people to work with in the entire state. And I've lived in quite a few cities here. They make fun of me for that. But y'all are the friendliest, easiest, and this has just been as complex as it's been. Everybody just came together and made it happen, and y'all have been amazing. The local support, just incredible. It's a testament again to the Panhandle and your willingness to roll up your sleeves and get the job done. You're going to hear from several of the project's champions later in the program, but I do want to recognize a few folks I think we have here. State Representative John Smithy. There we go. We got many county commissioners, judges, JPs, law enforcement, local mental health authority representatives. So thank you for being here and for showing your support. And all of you are really, really important to the success of this hospital. I also want to thank the city and Texas A&M for helping us secure the land that this hospital was built on. That is where it started, was us trying to find a location. And we ended up with a fantastic place. And those of you that know the city know that we're in the hospital district here. We've got so much, but we would not be here today, standing here literally, if it weren't for their work. I'm also excited to continue working with the city and West Texas A&M on their workforce development program. That was something that came up very early, and they were very engaged and said, hey, we want to help you build a workforce. We want to make sure that the hospital is fully supported. And their foresight in starting to work on this and bolstering the mental health workforce in the Panhandle is now going to benefit everyone. Through this program, we're going to help ensure that the city and the hospital have the nurses and that are critical to our operations. Now, I have to end my remarks with a little bit of a brag. And I love this because nobody knows this, so this is exciting. This hospital and its amazing innovative design just won an international award. Can you believe that? It won the Project of the Year from the Design and Mental Health Awards. It was announced in Manchester. They would not send me on state dollars to Manchester. I was very disappointed, but we did find out from afar. And if you look at your program, you're going to see there's a QR code on there, and you can see a flyover rendering. And I think you'll understand very quickly why this hospital won this prestigious international award. But I just love the fact that we're going to have an internationally recognized hospital right here in the Panhandle. It's just incredible. It's also pioneering an innovative lighting system that mirrors how natural light feels and falls during the day, so that it helps with patient sleeping patterns. I mean, this is nice. This is just beautiful. And I want to thank Paige, our architect, as well as the construction contractor, Lott Brothers, for the amazing work they've done. They've already undertaken and their final efforts that are going to continue over the next 2 years. And finally, I have to thank the Texas Legislature and Governor Greg Abbott for funding this project and investing in mental health care across Texas. So now it's my privilege to introduce our Executive Commissioner. Cecily Irwin Young has over 35 years of state government experience in Texas. Before becoming Executive Commissioner, she previously served as Acting Executive Commissioner from June 2018 to October 2018, and then as Chief Deputy Executive Commissioner after that. She was appointed Executive Commissioner by the Texas Health and Human Services for the Texas Health and Human Services Commission by Governor Greg Abbott, taking leadership of the state's largest agency in August of 2020. You might think about that date and when she took over the agency. That was a lot. She's been amazing. And so, Commissioner?
It is so exciting to be here with you all. Thank you very much for coming. We are so blessed to have so many members of the legislature here and local officials who are here to help us celebrate this great day. It's a great honor. As we celebrate the construction of this region's first state hospital, I'm inspired by the efforts made both by the local and state government leaders to reach this milestone. With a $159 million state investment, we are building a state-of-the-art facility, yay, we just got that amazing international recognition, that will serve residents in the area for decades to come. I want to take a moment to thank Governor Abbott and state lawmakers for funding this important project. The Panhandle State Hospital is part of our overall vision to increase access to inpatient care throughout the state. Since 2017, the state leaders have invested more than $2.5 billion to replace, renovate, and build state hospitals across Texas. By building this hospital, we are fulfilling a vital need for mental health services here in Amarillo and the region and creating jobs within this community. I want to thank local leaders who played a critical role acquiring the land for this hospital to be built. Through your actions, phone calls, emails, countless meetings, you made it happen. This collaborative effort is central to effective government, is a great example of what can be accomplished when we work together. I couldn't be more excited to see the impact this facility will have in helping some of our most vulnerable citizens. The hospital's modern design will help patients receive the best possible care in an environment that promotes healing and recovery. We know that people are better served when they have access to health care closer to home, and this hospital truly embodies the spirit that Amarillo is known for in helping its neighbors. Thank you for everyone who has played a role in moving this project forward. Together, we serve Texas. Our next speaker is County Judge Nancy Tanner. Born and raised here in Amarillo, Judge Tanner sits on half a dozen boards, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, she served Governor Abbott's Task Force for Infectious Disease Preparedness and Response. She also holds the distinction of being the first female county judge of Potter County. Please welcome Judge Nancy Tanner.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is a very, very special day today. I didn't think it would ever happen, to tell you the truth, but it is. So, as most of you know, in my capacity as Potter County Judge, I do the majority of final mental health hearings in the Panhandle. We have been in dire need of a mental health state-run hospital for as long as I can remember. I have over 35 years of experience with the county, and mental health has been the forefront of discussion for as long as I have been here. To actually know for certain that we will be getting this hospital is literally a godsend. Special thanks to Lieutenant Governor Patrick and Senator Sparks for actually listening to the group of area county judges and sheriffs at the brunch held at the Embassy Suites here in Amarillo in 2022. And you're going to remember this, I know you are. And after they got through with their speeches, Lieutenant Governor said, "What can we do for you?" And my hand literally went up faster than a gray-headed old lady yelling bingo. Threw my shoulder out, everything, but he said, "Judge Tanner, what do you need?" I said, "We need a state hospital." And he was surprised that we did not have one. There are 10 state hospitals in the state of Texas, all of them south and west and east of Wichita Falls. So we have to take our patients all the way to Wichita Falls, and that's a trip, if they have a bed. So this is literally a godsend. I would be remiss to ignore the work that so many others put in on this project. So a big thank you to the Panhandle Legislative Delegation, but more specifically, Governor Abbott, of course, former state for Price. Love you for. Don't tell your wife. John Smithy, Representative John Smithy, thank you very much. John Sharp, Chancellor of Texas A&M, is he here today? I don't think he's here. And then Walter Windler, President of WT, thank you for being here. Mayor Cole Stanley. All of you had a major part in this endeavor. They say good things come to those who wait. Well, Amarillo and Panhandle, the wait is finally over. When the powers that be, also known as the Health and Human Services, came to Amarillo last year, June of last year, to introduce the plans along with the rendering of what the hospital would look like, I remember going home that evening and feeling like I had just won the lottery, because I thought, this is really going to happen. I've been disappointed in my life for many, many years, and this is really going to happen. So I felt compelled to send Lieutenant Dan, I call him Lieutenant Dan, just between me and him, and he said, don't do it in public, but I just did. If he's watching, I know, if he's watching, I apologize. Anyway, he couldn't be here. He had something he had to do there in Austin, but I sat down and I wrote him a text, and the text said this: it seems so simple a gesture to merely raise my hand. Who knew? But look at the consequence of that action. You made a difference in this place I call home. Thank you just doesn't seem enough. I echo those same words and feelings today. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, Senator Sparks, everyone that had a hand in this. God has certainly blessed me with this job I have and great people like you. In closing, a very good friend said this to me about 11 years ago, right after I took office. She said, leadership isn't about position, it's about the heart. Lead with love, serve with humility, and walk with faith. God has called you to do great things. This is all about God. We would not be here if it not were for God. He gave me a heart for people with mental illness, and today I can say help is on the way. Thank you very much. It is my privilege to introduce my friend, Ford Price. Ford is the former state representative, District 87. Representative Ford Price took office in 2011 and announced his well-deserved retirement from the Texas legislature in 2023 following the 88th session. Representative Price served District 87 in the state for over a decade in the Texas House of Representatives, where he helped remove barriers for mental and behavioral health and advocated for rural communities. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce my friend, my hero, Ford Price.
Good morning. Good morning. And I'm so happy to be here. I have to start off by thanking the Health and Human Services Commission, the Executive Commissioner, Cecily, and Scott, because as a former elected official, you don't always get invited to attend these things. It's kind of obligatory for the officials who are in office. It's not always, the case that they invite someone who's not currently holding office to come and attend an event like this. So I'm really grateful to them for allowing me to be here today. This is such a phenomenal occurrence and development for not just Amarillo and not just the Texas Panhandle, but for the state of Texas. And for this to be located right here in our backyard is incredible. And I could sit here and talk for 2 hours. I think I have 2 minutes. So I'm going to make it quick. But the reality is this took the work of so many people to get it to where it is today. And when I think back, when I started my legislative service back in 2011, I was appointed to the Sunset Advisory Commission, and during that 4-year term, we had the charge to really go through and transform the health and human services agencies. And part of that process was we commissioned in 2012 a canon study to go back and review a number of things, one of which was our state hospital system. And we knew at that time, and I certainly knew that having talked to many sheriffs and county judges, including Judge Tanner multiple times, and folks all over the area that was involved, not only from a justice standpoint, a criminal law standpoint, but a healthcare standpoint, viewpoint, that having a facility for inpatient treatment here, for forensic beds and for civil commitment beds, was critical for the Panhandle. And I knew that study would show that, and certainly it did. Now, the catch was, it also showed needs all over the state. And it showed needs that we had state facilities that were built to be prisons back in the late 1800s that needed to be done. And we had areas of high population that had to be addressed before areas of lower population and things like that. So it was a challenge. And over the years, what occurred was, trying to line up political will to get it done and having the funding to get it done. And sometimes we had the resources, but we didn't have the political, will to get everybody pulling the same direction. In other sessions, we had everybody saying that should happen, but we just don't have enough money to make it happen right now. And so it was really difficult. And in 2023, with the leadership of our state leaders, many of which are here today and mentioned, my legislative colleagues, and I'm so glad to see them, who I had the pleasure of serving with, and Representative Fairley, who now this will be in your district, and it's awesome, and the city, Mayor Stanley, and everything that the county and the city has done to help this along the way is phenomenal. And I have to mention the former speaker, Joe Strauss, who made mental health a priority in Texas in 2011. I mean, I think that kick-started the types of numbers you heard the commissioner mention, which is billions of dollars in investment, not only in state facilities, but in programs across the state to benefit those who need it the most. Really thrilled to see that happen here and see this development. And before I leave, I want to say this wouldn't happen right here in this specific place. It may have happened, but it wouldn't happen in this specific location but for the willingness and creativity of Chancellor John Sharp with the Texas A&M system and President Walter Windler. President Windler, I remember him saying, this was not on my bingo card. Like, this wasn't on my list of priorities to do, and all of a sudden you've dropped this in our lap and we have to like really scramble, and he did. And through the creative ingenuity of Walter Windler and his staff and Chancellor Sharp and the A&M system and lots of support from the healthcare community in Amarillo and the Texas Panhandle, the city, the county, and so many others, it happened. And so it wouldn't have happened without that dedication. It wouldn't have happened without hours and hours and weeks and months of conversations and just overcoming barriers that tend to pop up. So I am very grateful. This will be a tremendous benefit to those who need it. It will be a tremendous benefit to the area, and it will outlive all of us. So I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I'm grateful for that. Now it's my privilege to introduce the next speaker, Mayor Cole Stanley. Mayor Stanley, born and raised in Amarillo, has been a commercial and residential builder here for a long time. You all know him very well. He needs no introduction. He served for one term, I guess it was 21 to 23 on the city council, ran for mayor successfully and won, and ran again and won. So he's serving currently his second term as mayor. Please welcome Cole Stanley.
Well, good morning. It is truly my honor to get to be here with you today and to get to speak to you. I'm so very thankful that I have the opportunity to be mentored, to be educated, and to be able to witness leadership in action. And so my job here today is simple. I need you to catch the vision. I need you to see just a little bit deeper into what's really going on here. Because if you're not careful, what you're going to see is some big heavy equipment, some plans, and a typical, groundbreaking with some remarks. What you're going to miss is you're going to miss what I've been able to witness in our good judge, Nancy Tanner. So when she threw her arm up, and popped that shoulder out of socket, she popped it right back in, and she kept right on trucking. And so she's tough as the day is long, and she's not afraid to engage in conversation. And so what I need you to understand here today is what's behind me is an opportunity for conversations. This is a location for conversation. What you may not see is that this streamlines, this synergizes, this brings together so much of what we're trying to do in this community to help people that are in a mental health care crisis. And so when you take and you build a hospital like this and you bring state funding and you bring state representatives, you bring leadership in action at the local level, at the state level, what you see is you provide a platform for those great men and women that love this community, that serve their fellow brothers and sisters, to give them mental health care and to give them hope at times of crisis. You provide a platform where everything comes together and they can now resource those conversations. So there's so much connectivity that we don't see that happens on the day-to-day. So from the police officers to the sheriff's department to our hospitals, to the TPC, to Centacor, so many different parts and pieces to this one big architectural apparatus that we call Amarillo, Texas. And so I'm honored to get to be here with you, and I'm honored to catch the vision here. I hope you see it because of the partnership and the collaboration. It's all worked together. It truly is all due to the Lord and the way in which He leads. He works all the small things together, but He needs you, men and women, to say, what is the next small thing that you have for me to carry out here today? Thank you to our leadership that stood up and ran with this ball. Thank you to Dr. Windler for taking a phone call and helping us find this and putting all this together. It is my honor and my privilege to get to introduce a man that I call a friend. Kevin Sparks is a true professional. He's your senator. He's a public servant. He has a servant's heart. And the man works really hard to serve us. And this couldn't be more evident here today, I think, in the role that he's played and how he's helped lead all this and bring all this together. Would you please welcome Senator Sparks? Thank you.
I'm going to keep my remarks brief as well, even though it's a beautiful, like Chamber of Commerce Day here in Amarillo. Thank you, Mayor Stanley, Representative Price, Judge Tanner. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have played a small role in this. And I'll go back to the very beginning, and your story was exactly right. It's exactly the way I remembered, was not embellished at all. I'm not even elected at this point, and I'm sitting in this meeting with all of the really local and Panhandle representatives. And when the Lieutenant Governor asked, what can we do for you in Austin? And Judge Tanner said, we need a state mental health hospital. I was thankful that the Lieutenant Governor, which, by the way, my kids call him Lieutenant Dan as well. But when they say it, they say, Lieutenant Dan. Not to his face, though. I was thankful. You remember what he said when you brought that up? He said, I'm going to make that happen. So it wasn't like, hey, we need to do a study on this. I'm going to visit with folks. Right there at that meeting in front of probably 40 officials, he said, we're going to make that happen. And so I am especially thankful to him because he has an awful lot to do with how the state's money is directed. And so, hadn't heard the story about how you guys studied this back in 2011 and 12. But it is an excellent example of how the state of Texas does things well. And it's multi-year. Things don't happen overnight, but with the right groundwork, we can come up with the proper results. And I think this mental hospital is the result of a lot of legwork, and it's the proper result. And as Mayor Stanley so aptly kind of charged you guys, there's still plenty of work to be done from this point. And so, I'm thankful we were able to secure another $4 million. Wasn't quite as much as we had hoped to get for the efforts that are going to go West Texas A&M. And, I appreciate the city working with West Texas A&M in coming up with a facility site for training and educating our next round of mental health workers, which we're desperately needing. But again, collectively, you've heard this from every speaker talk about how important it is for all of us to work together at each level. And that's one of the things that makes me so proud to represent District 31 is you guys all across this district, West Texans know how to work together, and we have to. It's a way of life out here. If we don't work together, we we don't accomplish things. So thank all of you guys that are here today, because y'all have all played a role in making this happen. Yeah, I was reminded as I was thinking about this that Jesus, speaking to his disciples one day, he'd just gone through a list of ways that we serve our neighbors. And he said, when you do this to the least of those among us, you have done it for me. And this is an excellent example of how we will serve the least among us. Those who have no other opportunity to get the medical attention that they desperately need. And so for that, I am so grateful and so thankful to have played a small role in this. And now I'd like to introduce to you your newest champion there in the Texas legislature, and someone who I am very confident is going to continue to be a fierce advocate for Amarillo and the Panhandle of Texas, and that's Representative Caroline Fairley.
Well, good morning, everyone. I am so thrilled to be here this morning. I'm looking out and I see so many local officials and judges who were involved in this process, and really without the dedication and the focus and support, we really wouldn't be here today. I want to thank Judge Tanner. You tell the story about Lieutenant Governor and meeting with him, and your commitment to the belief of what this project is so meaningful to Amarillo and to this district. Also, Mayor Stanley, what you've done in your keeping the momentum up to be sure this project would see its way through and be done. We're so grateful. I want to thank Commissioner Young. It is amazing to have a leader that understands the need for access to healthcare, access to good healthcare, especially here in our district and in Amarillo. And so we're so thankful for her leadership. I also want to thank Senator Sparks, our senator, Representative Smithy, Representative Price. I will tell you all in my first session, and we talk a lot about funding and how hard and difficult it is to get and how important it is to this project. And I served on appropriations this session, which is essentially all of the funding for the state of Texas and the budget. And I will tell you, after serving on that committee, to have access to secure the funding for projects in your district, it is very difficult. And so the fact that we were able to secure, you all were able to secure, I think it was about $160 million, is huge. And so without all of your leadership with funding and with those things at the state level and the lieutenant governor and our governor, it would not be possible. Today is one of those days where I get to show up and do the groundbreaking ceremony, but I really should not get any credit. I do want to say a few words about my predecessor, Price. You all understand this, but in my short time of serving, I understand at a deeper level how important it is to have a seat at the table and to also step up. Because if we don't, often the Panhandle will get overlooked. And I'm thankful that we have had a leader in Representative Price who cared and saw the needs here in Amarillo and then was able to execute and get it done. The same with Judge Tanner. And so thank you all for being here today. I am so thankful to serve the community in this aspect, and also I'm really excited to see the stories that are told from this facility, the stories of hope and redemption for families and for those who can have access to good care. Thank you so much.
photos while I'm doing this. Oh, it's all good. I've deleted a lot of photos right now.
One, two, three.
You want to get a couple pictures?